Craig, in your opinion, what is missing from contemporary architectural discourse?
Well, it's interesting. One could say that what's missing from the architectural discourse is the same as what's missing from the political discourse, and that would be bipartisanship. It's hard to say, but why does the architectural world, and by that I mean architects, critics, educators, just fans of architecture and the like, believe that there has to be a divide between traditional architecture and, quote, modern architecture, whatever that means. And this divide is totally arbitrary and artificial when you look at other art forms. If the Nashville Symphony wants to do a modern piece composed by Bela Fleck or composed for electric violinist, the critic the next day will write as to whether or not they did that well. If they want to do the ever-popular Beethoven's Fifth or Ninth, they will be judged by the critics as to whether they've done that well, but it's not a question of contemporary and modern versus traditional. The same thing goes for the arts. Museums can put on a Vasquez show, or pick your favorite Renaissance artist, or they can do anybody from Andy Warhol to Anselm Kiefer and beyond, and the critics will judge those shows on the quality of the art on the wall and the quality of the curatorial and exhibition design of that. But in architecture, we have camps, and it's divided, and people question, whether something is appropriate or not based on its style and how traditional or contemporary cutting edge it is. I can see very few projects where there's anything close to a right or wrong in those basic decisions. I could say that if you're doing a museum for contemporary art, it's pretty hard to justify something that looks like the West Wing in the National Gallery of Art, or if you've got a site that is totally devoid of any context at all. But most projects don't fall into that. So why is the architect judged not on the quality of what they do, but whether it's modern or traditional? There are too many modern buildings that just aren't very good that are given a free pass by the press and the critics and the educators simply because they're modern. And whether they have the appropriate civic read, whether they fit their site well, whether they're durable and sustainable, seem to go by the wayside simply because they're modern. And there's plenty of examples of that in D.C. simply in their new library buildings and their renovations of their schools. On the other hand, if one decides to continue the architectural continuum from the Renaissance on, all of a sudden, it's thought of as being a throwback and inappropriate. I think we really have to get to a point where architecture is judged by whether it succeeds, whether it serves its civic duty, whether it functions, whether it's sustainable, and it shouldn't be a question of style wars. And so I think that's what's really missing from the discourse today.